Hello, I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and in this video we're going to look at another of Tea Time with Lindsey Holiday, and this time we're going to be looking at a video that's a little bit more generalized, royal pets. So, in the Princess Diaries books, which I'm covering right now and using these YouTube videos with Lindsey Holiday to balance as my film for the Fridays, Fat Louie is very important in that book series. That is Mia's cat, who, strangely enough, yes, is still in fact alive in the royal wedding. He's very, very old, but he's still alive, as is her grandmother's poodle, Rommel. Both of them were very, very old, but yeah, they're still in existence, which makes them hopefully very, very young in the beginning of these books, considering, though I no idea how old Mia is when she gets her cat. I think she's like 10. If not, he's a very old cat because she's 26 in that last book. And Rommel, again, she starts out at 14, and Rommel's already annoying. And that's her grandmare's poodle. And then in the next series, her little spin-off series, the middle school librarians, there is in fact another royal pet, which is another little poodle by the name of, I believe, Snowflake. So pets are prominent in the book series, and this is a video on royal pets. So we're adding this here. Of course, we have pets. I have a cat in my lap who I brought home from Romania. We have 3 other cats in our house. I married a man who had 3 cats. I had 1. We like cats. I grew up with dogs and cats, so we're animal people. And my daughter has a giant zoo of stuffed animals and definitely likes cats and dogs and all sorts of creatures. But moving on. So this book, not the book, the video is very, very interesting. It talks a little bit about how we domesticated dogs and domesticated cats. We've had them for a long time. Egyptians worshipped cats, but they also had greyhounds. So that was a very important dog. Most of the video simply talks about dogs and cats. Obviously, horses were important, but they were not pets. It does talk about how eventually particularly, again, the British aristocracy, that is the expertise of this specific channel, eventually took large dogs and brought them into things like Papillons and no Chihuahuas. Again, that's a later breed, particularly found in the Americas. But you have the Papillons and Pugs, and various other, obviously, Corgis show up at the very end because, the Queen of England and Dachshunds and Dorgies, again, very end with the Queen of England and Dorgies. That is a combination of a Dachshund and a Corgi. It is not a recognized breed, it's a mixed breed. One of those more modern things. But again, these smaller breeds, which were best called muff dogs, I think is what I believe the author Mercedes Lackey brings that up. And that's what essentially these were. They were little lap dogs, and they were owned by both men and women. They also talk about the greyhounds and the mastiffs, the Russian hunting dogs as well that were brought over from various interactions. The loyalty of some of these dogs. She talks about Mary, Queen of Scots' dog, which was with her until her botched beheading and was clanged out from underneath her skirts after she died and got, covered in blood because it was a really, really, really bad execution. Yeah, Mary, Queen of Scots suffered a lot. But yeah, her dog was eventually taken by the executioner and given to relatives of Spain, I believe. It talks about apparently Josephine Bonaparte, whose dog terrified Napoleon and prevented them from basically consummating their marriage in the beginning because he would not stop growling at Napoleon, emperor of lots of Europe, scared by a small dog. But, they're vicious. So on his wedding night, destroyed by a small dog. Other beheaded queens, you have typically Anne Boleyn had a dog, again, small dogs, who's ended up either being thrown or jumping out a window, and they were terrified of telling her because she was, because basically she loved her dogs. So, and then basically, yeah, you talk about a lot of these, particularly the upper class, had these small little lap dogs. And yes, the men, even the women, had large hounds and various mastiffs and hunting dogs. These things also periodically became house pets. Later in time, of course, you had Queen Elizabeth, who had corgis and then dorgies that had been gifted to her. Apparently, Queen Elizabeth also liked dogs, so she would be presented with various dogs. Her father, King Henry VIII, was also very fond of dogs, so people would give him puppies as gifts, which was, again, kind of common. You had, I think one of the queens of England was more fond of, she had a monkey, slightly creepy, but a monkey. That's the only one of the stranger things. You don't really see a lot of guinea pigs and the rodents in this age, because again, cats, dogs. There was the King of France was very, I can't remember which one, very fond of cats, so they had cats. In fact, it wasn't until cats were not brought into, because again, cats fell out of favor because of the Black Death and, witch trials. So prior to that, quite a few royalty had cats, and cats were around. Apparently, the Sun King, Mary or Queen Antoinette's father-in-law, was cat obsessed, and they were everywhere in Versailles because cats. So there were cats everywhere. It's kind of interesting to think of the fanciness of Versailles with, cats everywhere. But I think it took a while for the Brits to get cats again. But again, of course, Queen Elizabeth is fond of corgis. Now, I found out something interesting that I didn't know. After her husband's death recently, she had her last corgi had died, and she didn't want to replace him because she didn't want any more puppies, and she didn't want puppies to be abandoned when she died. But her granddaughters, after Prince Philip's death, gave her a corgi puppy. So she may, I can't remember if her dorgi had died yet. But yeah, the granddaughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, which is, of course, her second son's daughters, gave her a puppy. Which kind of is understandable. Grandma's alone. Grandpa just died. Here's a puppy. So she got a corgi. But again, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, is very, very known for dogs. Both of her, I believe her children also have, most of her children have dogs. So dogs are very common in the British royal family. So I'm guessing corgis are going to be continued to be common. And she grew up with dogs, her parents. She was presented with a puppy, her and her sister, by, oddly enough, Lord Mountbatten, her future uncle-in-law, when she was relatively very young. So, and they very much loved the dog. So, and then it talks about, I think there's a couple other, again, notable different pets. There is a pet cemetery, I believe in Windsor, where most of the dogs are buried, and along with a variety of other royal pets, because again, various different family members were fond of dogs, and the occasional cat, because again, French. So, but it's an interesting little video. It's educational in a sense if you're looking at the history of pets, if you happen to like animals, if you're looking at different royalty and just kind of this small little turn-off of the history of pets. It's an interesting little video. I can't remember how long it was. It wasn't probably no more than like a half an hour. But it was very, very interesting. It was very, very cute. There's history thrown in there just because, again, you have Bonaparte's idea that his wife, who tried to desperately keep her head, because, again, she was part of the French Revolution, the one that eventually was overthrown by Bonaparte, and her dog chasing off this massive emperor scared by a tiny dog. Not all that common. Tiny dogs are vicious. I'm not a huge tiny dog fan. I grew up with retrievers. My parents still have retrievers. I have cats. Because again, we want to travel, so cats. They're easier to have somebody watch. So it's kind of easier. My husband grew up with Siamese. So we have a Balinese in our household right now, along with a calico and 2 black cats. Because I wanted black cats. So, and he wanted Siamese. So when his Siamese died, we ended up with 2 black cats, and what was supposed to be a Siamese turned out to be a Balinese. He's a flame point Balinese. He's fluffy. He's cute, but that would be Jasper. He's fluffy. And then Onyx and Obsidian are black cats, and the calico's in my lap. She will show up in Paris videos. I'm not going to disturb her because she'll bite me. She's almost, by the time you guys see this, she'll be closing in on 14. So she is my Romanian cat and was mentioned in my husband's wedding vows. So we are pet people. So if you like animals, you have pets, you kind of want to dip into some of the history. As homeschoolers, this is just kind of a fun video to watch. And again, I like the creator, and she has some decent history. I've done a bunch of her looking at the royal consorts of the British royal family, which is very, very interesting history. I think I have one more video of her that I'm planning on doing. I may do others when it fits in. As I said, I try not to get bit by this cat who's irritated. But that is the end of this video. Kendra, don't fall out of my lap. Yes, that's moving. It bites. Kendra is a vampire. A vicious, annoying vampire. So, Kendra, don't bite me. That is the end of this video. If you like what you see, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I do movies, films, yes, they're the same thing. Both educational and fun. I do cover some of these YouTube channels just because they fit in with what I'm covering book series-wise. In this case, it's The Princess Diaries. I am covering all of those. Yes, they're, by the time you see that, at the time of this filming, yes, they're all done. I still have to do the couple, I think there's 5 books in the Notebooks of a Middle School Princess. I have read them, I just haven't shot the videos yet. I've covered a wide variety of book series. I have a couple more Tomorrow Pierce series that are coming up. I'm covering the Linus Quartet and the Immortals Quartet. I've covered her Circle of and Circle Magic quartets already, as well as the Will of the Empress, so you can check those out. I also cover stuff. I have African American History Month, Asian and Jewish History Month, both already done and then coming up. So you can check out those videos, and a wide variety of children's books of all ages and various different films, again, ranging from educational to documentaries to all sorts of stuff. And we do, by the time you guys see this, hopefully I'll cover some children's board games and some more education and travel stuff. As we get traveling, as we move things along, we're getting out of COVID to an extent. I'm filming this in May of 2022. So be sure to like and subscribe. Check out the channel. Leave a positive comment if you have one. But I have a lot more to come, and check out what I got. Thank you.